I'm Susan Oxley, Apostle for Australia and Canada Mission Field. One of the really good examples of holistic mission that I know about happens in Brisbane, Australia. It all began years ago with a woman by the name of Lorraine Kurzweil. She's a 70 in the church, and Lorraine had a problem. She had a son who left home and just disappeared. Lorraine's search for her son took her to Alpha Trailer Park, and she understood that that was the last place that he had interacted with a community before his death. So she went there. It's a slum trailer park. People who don't have a lot of options in life, who've kind of been on a downward spiral with their economics and their life situations, often end up in a place like Alpha Trailer Park. They feel isolated, alone, desperate sometimes. So when Lorraine got there, she began knocking on doors, asking questions about her son, and no one would speak to her. There at Alpha Trailer Park, there was a man by the name of Robbie who was a hitman. And he basically was the controlling voice. And he was saying to people, don't talk to this woman. She's one of these churchy do-gooders, and she'll break your heart. And because Robbie said not to talk to her, they obeyed. And so Lorraine kept going back. She would take her lunch and sit on a little low parapet there and watch people come and go. She began to recognize people, began to feel a connection to this community. She went back for 8 months. 8 months without giving up. So eventually Robbie got curious, and this hitman sat down with her one day and said, okay, who are you, and tell me your story. So Lorraine began to talk to him about her son and how she loved her son and had lost him now and was trying to find someone who could connect her to the last days of his life. And Robbie listened, and he heard the pain in her life and the longing that she had just to make this connection. And when she was done, he spread the word around Alpha Trailer Park, Lorraine's okay, she's one of us. So people began to talk with her, and she began to make relationships. She began to form friendships. And out of all that, she came to love those people deeply, and she wanted to make a difference in their lives. It was the relationships, you see, that prompted the mission. And so she formed Project Hope. She managed to get a small little trailer, and they established a drop-in center. They began to form a sense of community. They began to cooperate, began to understand each other's lives and listen and bond together. And Lorraine didn't leave it just at service and just at outreach. She began teaching them the gospel, talking about this Jesus that she knew and that was the sustaining spirit in her life that had kept her going when she was searching for her son. And so they began to hear the gospel message. So Project Hope began to transform lives. And Robbie, the hitman, was one of those who was transformed. He gave up being a hitman. He turned his multiple gifts of caring for people and protecting people from the negative side to the positive side. And so he continued to be a gatekeeper there, but in ways that were caring and pastoral. I have this wonderful photograph of Robbie that is a total contrast to the man standing with his sunglasses on and his t-shirt on and his long hair looking rather sinister, because of a baby that was born in Alpha Trailer Court. A young couple who didn't have a lot of resources, who found themselves in Alpha Trailer Park and found support from that community, and they had little Lily, a beautiful little girl, and Robbie found a brand new role for himself as her surrogate grandfather. I have this wonderful picture of Robbie, and you wouldn't even believe it's the same man. He looks transformed. That's the man that he has become. And it is the love of Lorraine Kurzweil, who went looking for her son, her lost son, and shared her love then with this whole community, who enabled that Project Hope to happen and the transformation that the gospel can make in the lives of people like Robbie.